I watched Nevertheless, and here is what I thought. So, if you've never heard about this TV show, Nevertheless is a K-drama about a girl and boy. They meet and they immediately have an attraction. The problem is he doesn't really do commitment, but she does. They come to agreement where she agrees to try to do the whole non-committal thing and not really put too much of a label on themselves. So they decide to kind of date and be with each other in that type of way, but nothing really too serious. So with different opinions on relationships, we kind of see how this certain couple navigates their new feelings for each other. So yeah, that is basically the synopsis for Nevertheless, kind of a boy and girl who are in college and they're trying to figure out these new feelings and this attraction that they have for one another. So that's all I'm going to tell you guys pre-spoilers. So if you haven't seen it and you really want to see the show, go watch it and come back and listen to the rest. But if you don't care, as always, we're getting into spoilers, so you have been warned. Okay, Nevertheless, what do I have to say? I did not enjoy this show. It honestly was a struggle for me to even finish this show to begin with. I had stopped because once I got to a certain point in the show, I kind of knew how it would end. I didn't want to see it because the way I knew it would end is not the ending that I wanted to see. Don't get me wrong, in the beginning I was enjoying it. The reason I started watching this was because I was interested in the show. But then as the episodes went on, I ended up not liking them. And it all focused around the main characters and the relationship between them. And unfortunately, that was what the whole show was about. So because of that, I didn't really like this show. When they first meet each other, they don't know who each other are. They're at a bar and he's looking for his date and thinks it's her and it's not really her, but then they obviously see that there's some type of attraction to each other and they start hanging out instead. And she's attracted to him. She's kind of like, I guess you would say like a good girl, and he's kind of like the bad boy. So there's something there. And I was like, okay, this looks kind of interesting. But we find out that their views on relationship are different. So I can understand that some people don't do relationships. Just some people don't. And if you want to try not doing that like she did, she's like, okay, like let me try it. Since he doesn't really want to do a relationship thing, let me try it. Okay, that's her choice. And he wasn't ready to be in a committed relationship, at least in my opinion. And then even though she tried to do the non-committed things, you can really tell she wasn't really feeling it. She wasn't really enjoying herself going along with this. But she kept doing it because this was something he kind of wanted, and you could just see it was kind of hurting her, just dealing with her feelings. And I felt really bad for her. And I was like, girl, you need to let him go. You need to move on because this is just not something you want. And not just this relationship, but she was struggling in class and being creative, and that eventually would affect her finals and in the future. And just adding this guy in the mix was just something that made things a lot more complicated. So I did mention before, she is an art student and she's been having like a really hard time being creative, and it doesn't really help that he's like he's also an art student and he's like really good and talented. So there's another thing, I guess she's like, oh, why can't I be this talented? So that's another layer. She just has a lot going on and just dealing with this relationship that's not really a relationship and not really knowing her feelings and if she can do this anymore. It's just not great at the moment. It's just a lot to handle. So eventually the non-relationship thing, she couldn't handle it anymore and she kind of leaves, and I think she just needs to get away from where she is, needs time to think, and needs time away from him because she just can't do this with him anymore. So she goes to visit her aunt's place. And this is where she bumps into an old friend. And we kind of see that this dude kind of always liked her and has a crush on her. And while she's there visiting, he's like doing all these nice things for her, being a true gentleman. I'm yelling at the screen while they're together. Like, girl, pick him. This is the man. This is a nice man. And he was really sweet. He just wanted to make her happy. And she seemed really happy. And this was a guy who looked like he was ready for a relationship. He's ready to date you, girl. And I was like, this is the good guy showing all the great signs. I was like, girl, choose him. I was rooting for them. And for a minute, I thought maybe the show will go in a direction I'm going to like and she will choose him. But unfortunately, I was mistaken. So, of course, a bunch of her friends from her art class, they decided to do some type of like little vacation and go to a place near up to like where her aunts live because it's like a vacation place. And who comes along? This dude. Yes, he shows up again, and I was like, the nerve of this man. The nerve of this man showing up, kind of like trying to win her back when it seems like you're still kind of playing games and not into the whole relationship thing. Like, don't come back unless it's, you know, something that you want. And when I saw him come back, I just knew, I was like, the show's gonna make her choose him and not this other guy who's perfect for her, nice guy, and better for her in every way. And then immediately when I saw him come back, it was like the end of an episode. I stopped watching. I was like, no, I'm annoyed. I don't want to see this man anymore on screen. I don't want them to be together. And I had to pause and step away from the show because I was just so annoyed, because I was like, I know how this is going to end. She's going to choose. Because, you know, the show is kind of pushing them together with the guy that's been there from the beginning. And I was like, I feel like they're going to end up together. That's the way the show wants it to go. And I don't want it to go that way. And that's why I just take a step back from this show for a little bit. It did take me a little while to come back to it. So when I did decide to come back and try to finish, I was like, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe I will like it. Maybe it will go in a better direction. Maybe they'll convince me to like and root for this couple. So I continued on with the show to see if I would like it. Turns out it didn't. So when it ended, like I assumed and guessed, she did choose the other guy who wasn't really into commitment. I guess in the end they kind of went into some type of relationship. But I honestly was not rooting for them at all. Maybe in the first couple episodes, but after a while I was like, girl, you deserve better. You're not liking this. And like, this is the type of dude he is. He's not a guy that wants a committed relationship, and you do. It's just not how it works, you know? And then for a little bit, I thought he was like playing with her feelings, and because he knew like what type of girl she was. He knew she's like wanted commitment and kind of knew her type of person. Maybe he wasn't playing her, but to me, from what I was seeing, it felt like he was at some point messing with her emotions or like using it for his advantage, and I just didn't like that. And since the whole show was centered around this couple, and I just didn't love this couple, I think it was really hard for me to even like the show in general. And so since I just didn't like them, I think that was the reason I just didn't like the show. Even like the last scene in the last episode I didn't like. It was like a part where they're holding hands and she sees her old friend and she like lets go of her man's hand. And I was like, what are you doing? And then he's like, you good? And she's like, yeah, I'm good. And then continues walking with her hand in his hand. Even that little scene, I just didn't like. I was like, girl, why is your first instinct to take your hand away? There could have been a better way to have that scene make a better statement. I don't know, the way they chose to end it with her like not sure and then like actually I am sure. I think that choice was not the best choice. At least for me, it made me feel like, okay, y'all two are still not the best option together. But that's just me. So if you didn't guess already, my rating for this show is 2 stars. I'm not going to say I hated the show, but I just really did not like it. Because in the beginning I did like it and I did want to root for this couple, and then eventually the more it happened, the more I was like, I don't want them to be together at all. I just didn't like the two of them together. I thought they were very different. I thought she was trying to change a lot for him, and I just didn't think it was worth it. I think even if it wasn't the best friend, I just think she should be single rather than choosing this man. So I'm giving this show 2 stars. I just didn't really like it. It wasn't for me. I didn't find the main couple being a couple that I would want to even root for. So yeah. And I didn't go into the show thinking that I really wanted to like this. It's kind of sad I ended the show not liking it, because I was trying to give the benefit of the doubt and like, okay, maybe the show will do something that will make me want to root for this couple even more, like them give it a second chance. So that's why I did end up finishing, and I just still didn't like the main couple and didn't end up liking the show. So yeah. So I apologize for this turning more into a rant than a review. But yeah, I really didn't like it. Well, as I mentioned, I'm just ranting about how I didn't like this girl and guy together. I don't even remember what the rest of the show is probably even about. I know I just didn't like them. I liked the best friend. I liked the guy from her aunt's hometown. And I think he should have been the one to end up with her. Honestly, he was too good for her, because the way she's treating him, I was like, poor dude. Hopefully he finds someone worthy of him. But if you did watch Nevertheless and you really liked it, let me know in the comments, like, what parts did you like? Because I honestly could not like it, but maybe there's people that did like this couple. Just tell me why. Because just for me watching it, I just felt like they weren't a good match, and I felt like he couldn't redeem himself, and I felt like he didn't really redeem himself too much either in the show to make me want to like root for at least him. For her, I'm just like, girl, for real, don't get treated like this. And that's why I was like, well, if you're going to be this man, I guess that's what you want to do. But anyway, got off track again. Let me know if you watched the show. I hope you enjoyed this little rant review that I did of Nevertheless. Feel free to check out any other TV content on my website. I'll link that below. You can also follow me on all socials as well. If you did like this video, feel free to check out any other reviews I have done. I have a playlist as well. Feel free to subscribe. Help us sister out if you really want to. So you can watch more videos like this or any various kinds of content I put on this channel as well. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, week, month, and hopefully a good rest of your year. And until next time, bye.